Bitcoin is the winner. It's the orange dwarf. It's got the network effect, and it is the most powerful global capital asset and global property asset. But Bitcoin is already the winner. It's reached escape velocity. And if the US government begins to acquire it aggressively, not only are they a beneficiary, but they will force every other country on earth to adopt Bitcoin as the global capital. There's 4 different metaphors for Bitcoin. There's digital capital. There's digital property. The third important metaphor is it's a digital energy network. And the AI economy is going to be built on digital energy by moving energy, money at the speed of light, at the speed of a computer. It's a $100 trillion economy. There is one digital energy network. If you own it, if you control it, you control and participate in that $100 trillion economy. If you don't, you're locked out of the economy. The AIs are going to think 1,000,000 times a second, and they're going to want to trade 1,000,000 times a second with each other. You can't do it without a digital monetary network.
Michael Saylor is now the most outspoken and powerful supporter of Bitcoin after more than 10 years of unwavering commitment. He's not only talking about Bitcoin as the executive chairman of MicroStrategy, he's investing billions of dollars in it. Saylor thinks that Bitcoin is the cornerstone of a new monetary system, not just the money of the future. According to him, digital energy is the most valuable resource in a world where debt and inflation are roiling. Saylor is steadfast in her resolve, while others argue over crypto stories. Bitcoin is more than an additional asset on the list. It is the list, and the opportunity for catching up is rapidly closing, he says. Bitcoin was selected by the market. It's superior mathematically, not because it's trendy. For Saylor, everything else is just noise. If you're intrigued by bold predictions and deep financial insights, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more engaging content. Thank you for your support and enjoy the video.
I think the most important thing said in this industry in 4 years was said Friday night, and I think it missed a lot of people's attention. I don't think people really realize what happened. David Sachs, the crypto czar, went on the All In podcast. And on the All In podcast, he said unequivocally that the US government only recognizes one crypto asset as being decentralized. So what Sachs said was Bitcoin is a decentralized asset, a store of value. That's why it's in the strategic Bitcoin reserve. It's the only one. And so what you had was a member of cabinet responsible for digital assets policy, in essence, providing very clear guidance that Bitcoin is a digital commodity, an asset without an issuer. And that's the policy of the United States and the president of the United States. And of course, the president directed that should come to his desk by August. He said, I want to see it by August. He's actually said, in the first executive order, he said within 6 months, so by late July. But I think there's only one universally acknowledged digital commodity in the world, right? There's only one. There's Bitcoin. I've said that, right? There is no second best. I've implied that and said that, and I've spent $33 billion based on that. So yeah, it was my view 4.5 years ago. There's one digital commodity. But Christine, there's a more important point here. Even if there was a second, third, and fourth, like let's take the fork wars, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Satoshi Vision. Even if you fork Bitcoin and you maintain that's a commodity, they're all going to zero if the use case is store of value or cap or money, right? Because if you were to fork Bitcoin and claim it's decentralized, the free market is going to pick the strongest network and it's going to be monetized and everything else is going to zero. So it doesn't matter from a practical point of view. My position is not that you couldn't theoretically create another digital commodity. And the companies in the United States, like my company, they're capitalizing on Bitcoin. They're going to be worth $20 to $40 trillion just on their Bitcoin assets if they continue to capitalize. So understood as digital capital, Bitcoin is enriching the corporations and the government itself, depending upon how much Bitcoin those entities own. That's the first metaphor. You know, the second metaphor is Bitcoin is digital property. If you think of it as gold or cheese, nobody rents their cheese or mortgages their cheese. But when you think of it as owning 100 acres in Manhattan, if your family owned 100 acres of Manhattan 100 years ago and you owned it this year, and I asked you, what's your family doing with it? You know, how are you going to pay your bills? You wouldn't say, well, we're going to sell our property in Manhattan. You would say, we're going to rent it. We're going to develop a building on it, or we're going to borrow against it. We're going to finance it. And so